Hello and welcome to the commentary track, brought to you by the Posse. My name is PokeCaptain.
I'm Kung Fu Jesus.
This is Medibot.
And my name is Kaz.
We have with us a interview that we made with one of the developers of the game from Twisted Pixel's lesser-known Japanese development office. His name is Uroto Tsukidoji-san, and we prepared several questions for him, interviewed him, and translated them for you. How has this game changed the way you look at game development?
I used to believe games existed in the imagined space between the player and the game itself. But now I believe that the opposite of that is the truth. The only place games exist is not in that imagined space, but only everywhere else. This game was the first I worked on where I used that ethos to guide my decision-making. I consider it my little darling.
Did you ever think of any of your previous games as my darling?
The closest would have been Splosion Man. That game affected me deeply.
Do you feel a Kinect game should have a unifying experience, or is a divisive or polarizing game ultimately more healthy?
Of course, no game can appeal to everyone, but the ideal would be a kind of combination of both. Something that you play that makes you feel like you're the only one who likes it, and it was made just for you, and for everyone else to feel the same way. Something that appeals to you in a universal, but private and personal sense, like a vengeful cowboy skeleton.
Is revenge a strong literary device many games should use more of?
Revenge carries with it a great deal of emotion and action automatically, and that is a great benefit for a game's story. Even without a story, every game is a kind of story of revenge. You press a button, and the avatar takes some action as a consequence. That's what revenge means to games.
Does it concern you that overwhelmingly men, and not many women, make up gaming culture?
I think that if you look at the whole picture, that is not really the case at all.
What games, if any, would you have died to see behind the scenes?
This game, of course, but thankfully I did not have to.
What's the most important thing to understand about the development cycle?
I think this goes back to what I was saying about revenge. Revenge is a very important part of development.
What do you consider your personal triumph in this game, and what mistakes do you have to own up to?
It is funny you put it that way, because I consider my greatest contribution and my greatest mistake to be the same thing. I can't talk about it because of political reasons. Sometimes that is just how it goes.
Do you think it's fair to say that the Gunstringer in many ways resembles classic kabuki theater?
That was more of a localization concern. Two different audiences might see two different theatrical influences, but that doesn't make one or the other the correct one. Anyway, I don't think you understand kabuki that well if you're asking that.
In another interview, you said it is like one of the instant classics, talking about the Gunstringer. Would you like to elaborate on that?
I think time will bear that out more than anything. Look back in 10 or 20 years, and this will be one of the pillars of game development.
This next question comes from a recent online chat. Which of your toys do you keep at the office? Not to play with, really, but a toy as a status symbol.
It sounds like that person knows me very well. I actually collect old toys and rotate them in and out of my office. I keep them as a thought focus. Something to reflect on.
Have you had a better experience working on games for kids or for adults?
I don't feel the rating that a game gets at the end of the day makes a big difference in my own experiences. The best games, of course, even the playing field.
This game is one that shows the modern trend of giving games more dark-feeling plots. Is this going to continue?
Gamers do not crave any one thing for very long. There are no ups and downs as much as a circular pendulum spiraling around and through certain core concepts, moving back and forth around some ideas or others that you may think we discarded. I, for one, have not forgotten where we have been and will make sure we come back again and again to preserve the mental space.
Who came up with the code name The Demon's Eye used for your project?
I can't remember exactly where the name came from. On our end, the Gunstringer's remaining eye played a larger role in the narrative than it does now. I consider it a favorable change, and I'm saving some of the ideas for later projects.
What ideas born of this project do you plan on using in the future?
Naturally, I have to keep those a secret. Except I can say that in the future I will keep a scroll case with me with large scrolls of soft paper in them. We use computers for so much nowadays, and I found it a great outlet for my ideas, as well as a stylish addition to my wardrobe.
We're almost up on the clock. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Just to say that this game exemplifies my vision for storytelling in games. I really want to encourage players to think about the space that the game occupies as outside of themselves and outside the game. Also, of course, to say that none of this would have been possible without my personal contribution.